Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Behind the Closed Doors. Episode 4. Chapter 29. Zanan POV. Where are you going? I asked Crystal, feeling her trying to wiggle out of my arms. She stilled and gave a little sigh. I have to pee unless you feel like waking up in a wet bed. I opened one eye and let go of her. As soon as I took my arms away, she jumped off the bed and ran for the bedroom door and not the bathroom door. I threw my arms over my face and groaned. After we came back, Zane and Tracy helped me move Crystal's things and my things into the master bedroom. It's the one room that was off limits to everyone. We haven't really seen Zane or Tracy. Kyle is coming back today, Zara is out doing her own thing and it has never felt this good to be home. I have spoken to Crystal a lot since we came back and I have learned all kinds of things from her, and I know why she didn't tell me the truth. I am not even sure what I want. I mean, I am happy with my pack and the life I have built for myself, so is war really necessary? It happened. It is over. What are you doing? We can't just give up Zanan. I'm not giving up Blaze, but we have everything we wanted. We have our mate, we have our life, and are you not happy? I am happy, Zanan, but if we fight for what is ours, then we can have our pack and we can bless this pack so it can be a real pack. Only the blood of a king can bless a pack. Don't you want that for them? After what Blaze said, I have decided I will do this for everyone. As much as I want a nice quiet life, this will never be over until it is over. I got out of bed, showered and went downstairs. As I walked down I could hear hushed voices speaking and one of them was Crystal. I tried listening, but when I got closer Crystal said, I know you are there, so why don't you just join us? How did you know I was there? I asked when I saw her. My senses are stronger than yours, and I can feel you from miles away. It's almost like an invisible string that links me to you. You are amazing, you know. I said and pulled her in for a kiss. Looking at what she is wearing, she looks like a goddess. A white dress that hung just above her knees with a tight middle that hugged her curves perfectly. Her hair was pulled into a ponytail with a few loose strands and her blue eyes seem bluer today. I looked again as if I had just realized, when did you get dressed? I asked, half stunned. I borrowed clothes from Delia, because I have somewhere to go and you have business to catch up on. When I get back, you and I will have a talk and then we can decide what to do, but for now don't spread panic please and be nice. Crystal kissed my cheek, took Delia's hand and she was gone. It's things like this that make me mad. I have no idea where they are going or when they are coming back. I counted to 10 and went to my office. I looked at all the paperwork on my desk and gave a loud sigh. When am I supposed to finish this? I looked through them and most of them are about finance, there are a few from work and then there is an unmarked yellow envelope. I picked it up and there was nothing written on either side of it. I opened it up and a note fell out. I smelled it and recognized the scent immediately. Zach. I opened the letter and started reading. I don't know where you live so I sent this to your office. I know you don't want to talk to me, and I understand why, but we have to talk Zanan. There are things I found out that you need to know. I am sorry about your mate and what I did. I didn't know father would kill her like that. I left a number where you can reach me and we can meet. If it makes you feel better, you can give a time and place. I will bring my beta and gamma and you can bring whomever you want to. I looked at the number and a million thoughts swam around in my head. Do I really want to see him? Crystal POV. I was trying to get out of bed without Zanan knowing what feels like forever and finally just gave up. I started wiggling, hoping he would wake up and let me go. I have something planned for today, so I need to speak to Delia. I feel bad about what happened when we came back, which was a week ago. I never realized how stressed and worried she was. I wanted to make it up to her, so I decided to take her to Paris with me. She has a passport, so all we need is a stamp and I know just where to go. I didn't tell Zanan about this because he could reject the idea, saying, "We have too much to worry about, or this is not the best time." I don't think Tracy would go with us because she just found her mate and Zane wouldn't let her out of his sight. We were all worried that he would flip if he learned the truth, but those two are inseparable and very in love. I had to lie to get out of bed and met Delia downstairs. I pulled her to one side and said, "I need clothes." She looked at me and smiled before pulling me out of the pack house and to her home. She opened her cupboard and told me I could pick anything I liked. She had so many dresses that I settled for a white one. It was beautiful and made to be worn in Paris. I searched further and gave Delia the same dress just in a different color. Hers is purple and mine white. We did our hair and I explained my plans to her. She was all too happy. Her whole face lit up and she became bubbly. We went back into the house and spoke beneath the stairs. We weren't there long when I smelled Zanan. He doesn't know, or maybe he did, but he didn't believe me, either way. I said, "I know you are there, so why don't you just join us?" "How did you know I was there?" he asked and he truly looked confused. "My senses are stronger than yours, and I can feel you from miles away. It's almost like an invisible string that links me to you." I said and watched his mouth open and close and then he said, "You are amazing, you know. Being in Paris is supposed to be so normal for me since I have a house here, but the difference is, I have never brought anyone here. No one even knows about this. Before my parents died, we used to come to Paris often, since it's the city of love. My father bought a house and gifted it to my mother. When they died, the house came to me and I kept it hidden from everyone. I always said that I would bring my mate here and then I found him. He didn't want me, and I found another who was nothing but stubborn." "Wow, this place is amazing," Delia said as she looked around. "Thank you. And we are here for the next 3 days. I will call Zanan and say we are safe. You should call Jeff." Delia looked at me and realized something. She hit her forehead and said, "I am the worst mate in the world." I didn't even greet him. "It's okay, we will be home in 3 days and then you can say goodbye, and hello." Delia laughed at me and took out her phone. "That phone won't work from here, so use the landline," I said, and she walked over. My stomach growled and I felt nauseous. What is happening to me? I looked at Delia and she was looking at how I was feeling. She put the phone down and asked, "Where can I find the bathroom?" I showed her and I went to the other one. Maybe this is just the consequence of teleporting someone with me. But this never happened with Tyler. Raven said and something went off in my brain. I walked to find Delia. "I think we need to go to the hospital," I said when I found her rinsing her mouth. "Why?" "I'm fine, maybe it's the side effect of my traveling style." "No Delia, I think you might be pregnant and me too." When I said that her head came up so fast she could have given herself whiplash. "Well then, what are we waiting for?" she asked and walked out. The hospital wasn't that busy but we had a lot of praying eyes on us. "Hello, can I help you?" a nurse asked from behind the desk. "Yes, I am Crystal Stone and this is Delia, we are here to see Dr. Ryan Blackwood please," I said and waited for the nurse to come back. "He is a wolf and a doctor. He is part of Tyler's pack. He will come and get you now, please take a seat." the nurse said when she came back. We sat down and waited. Dahlia was a mess. I don't know if she is happy or angry. Are you okay, Dee? No. I mean yes. I don't know. See, what are we gonna do? This is not the time to have babies. You are going to be fine, Dee, and I promise you everything will be fine. Crystal, what brings you here? Hello Ryan, it's good to see you too. We came because, well, I think we're pregnant. I said, and he motioned for us to follow him. Who is first? I motioned for Dahlia to get on the bed and watched as Ryan worked. On the screen you could see a perfectly healthy baby growing. Ryan moved around and pointed at the screen. You see that there? That is a second heartbeat. Wait, what? You telling me I'm gonna have twins? Like push two babies out of me. Dea said, and now she looked panicked. I walked over and took her hand, trying to calm her down. Ryan wiped her stomach and I was next. Lying on the bed, I could feel my heartbeat picking up and my palms became sweaty. Relax, Crystal. How am I supposed to relax? I hadn't even had sex until little over a week ago and now I'm pregnant. How is that even possible? I asked, and Ryan looked at the screen and then at me. Congratulations, you are also having twins. I looked at him and then at the screen. Every doubt I had vanished, every thought I had just stopped and my mind became blank. Crystal, are you okay? Dahlia asked and a single tear fell from my eyes. How did this happen? I asked myself. I never even thought about getting pregnant and now I am. Would Zanan be happy or would he be mad? We have never even discussed babies or anything. Zanan is a strong wolf and of a high rank, so your pregnancy will be 3 months, maybe less, as for Dahlia 4 months and she is already a month in, so you will give birth around the same time. Ryan said, and I looked at Dahlia taking her hand in mine. We will be pregnant together. I know. She said and smiled at me. Well, I guess this means we have to go home. Yes, let's go home. Zach POV. Since my parents died, I have never been into my father's office or my mother's. I haven't found the strength to go there. I blame Zanan for their deaths because the rogues came here looking for him and they wouldn't say why. For all we knew, he angered the wrong people or messed with the wrong rogue. I have been trying to find him ever since they died, but no one knows where he is. It's like he just vanished in this air, no one has seen or heard from him. I knew about my grandfather's business that he took over, so I wrote him a letter and sent it there. I did find something in my father's office and my mother's. At first I thought it was made up, but then again, I don't even know what's the truth and what isn't anymore. I rubbed my head and looked at Alicia's photo again. Why would they lie about who her father was? I asked myself. And why would my father make a deal with a rogue? I found the email he sent and then there was nothing. All of a sudden, Alicia died, Zanan got blamed and me. Well, I didn't even stand up for him. Instead, I caused him more pain. I was standing and looking out the window of my father's office and I could see the whole pack he had built and every alpha before him. I wanted the alpha title, but now I am not so sure anymore. I felt my phone vibrating in my pocket and took it out. I looked at the screen and it was an unknown number. I hesitantly answered and put the phone to my ear. Hello? What do you want, Zach? Zanan? I asked and my mind went blank. Yes, what do you want? I took a deep breath and said, I found something and I wanted to know if you knew. I told him what I had found and all he said was, I know, so what do you want from me? Nothing, I guess. You sound healthy. Zach, cut. What do you want? Fine, I want to see you, I want to make sure that you are okay. Why? You didn't care then, so why now? Because I miss you, okay. He was silent before he asked, did you know that Lara and Trevor weren't my real parents? I didn't know what to tell him, because I have always known. He was just a small boy when he was taken into the pack and I am a few years older than him. Yes, I knew. You were 5 when you showed up here in the pack with a woman. She asked to take care of you and raise you as an alpha. No one ever asked any questions, they just did what was told. Many paragraphs are missing. Zanan was quiet at the end of the line and I wish he would scream or shout, but all he has been this whole time is calm. A bit rude, but he is too calm. Well, thanks for clearing that up, and seeing that we aren't related in any way. This is the last you will hear from me, and if you ever try and find me again I will send back your wolves dead. Was all he said and cut the call. I have no idea what to do with that. He knew about Alicia and he knew about Lara and Trevor not being his real parents. What has he been up to? I asked myself and walked out of the office. That call did not go as I planned, but at least I know he is still alive. That is good enough for me. Zanan POV Crystal and Dalia have been gone for half a day now. Dalia just phoned Jeff and said she was safe and she would be home soon, again not saying where they were or when they were coming back. I have been sitting here tarring at the letter Zach sent for almost 3 hours. I don't know if I should call him or not, but he may have something of use to me. I picked up my phone and dialed his number. As I sat there looking out of my window, I imagined him being in Trevor's office fumbling with papers or staring out the window. He picked up the 3rd ring. Hello. I was shocked when I heard his voice. He sounded tired, like he hadn't been sleeping or anything. What do you want, Zach? I asked, getting straight to the point. I don't think I am ready to see him yet. Zanan, he asked a bit unsure. Yes, what do you want? I found something and I wanted to know if you knew. I know, so what do you want from me? I asked, getting impatient. He is telling me everything I knew already. Nothing, I guess. You sound healthy. Zach, cut. What do you want? Fine, I want to see you, I want to make sure that you are okay. Why? You didn't care then, so why now? Because I miss you, okay. Did you know that Lara and Trevor weren't my real parents? I asked, hoping he would say no, or even a small hint that he didn't, but instead he said the words I knew from the very beginning. Yes, I knew. You were 5 when you showed up here in the pack with a woman. She asked to take care of you and raise you as an alpha. No one ever asked any questions, they just did what was told. Well, thanks for clearing that up, and seeing that we aren't related in any way. This is the last you will hear from me, and if you ever try and find me again I will send back your wolves dead. I said and hung up the phone. I have nothing more to say to him. My whole life has been a lie, and it took a dying man to admit the truth, and tell me who I am. I don't know what to do with all this new information, but one thing is for sure. I want to hear them say it and tell me why they did it. My office door opened and Crystal stuck her head in. I jumped up and walked over to her. I tried hugging her but she pulled away. I looked down at her and saw that she didn't look well. What's going on? I asked, not looking away from her. She closed the door and went to sit down. She looked at me and I could see her eyes tearing up. Crystal, what is going on? You are scaring me. We've never talked about family. What do you mean? We said we'll let the past be in the past. I said, looking at her confused. No, I mean our family, you, me and pups. We've never even brought the conversation up." I looked at her and I was at a loss for words. "What about that?" She looked at me and for a second I could see pain and hesitation in her eyes. "Do you want a family, Zanan?" I thought for a second and then said, "Of course I do, but just not now. I mean, with everything that is going on, we don't even know what is going to happen tomorrow. When we start a family, I want to give them a home and a safe upbringing. I don't want to add more stress to my plate or yours." Crystal wiped a tear that fell and looked at me. "Well, it's too late for that because I am pregnant, Zanan." I couldn't even utter a word. My mind just went blank as I stood there looking at her as if she had just admitted to committing a crime. I opened my mouth and then closed it again. Everything is falling apart. I want kids, and I want to start a family with Crystal, but do I want one now? I thought you were on the pill or something, because you weren't a virgin. She looked at me as if I had slapped her. She stood up from the chair and moved towards the door. She turned around and looked at me. She said, "I am not on the pill, and I have never heard of a virgin growing back. But at least now I know what you thought and what you think." I tried to say something, but nothing came out. I didn't even try and stop her when she walked out of my office, leaving me in silent agony. "What have you done?" "I don't know, but everything is just going so wrong. I hate you and I wish I had never been your wolf. You have done everything to try and hurt her and now you broke her. Why do you have to be so arrogant and self-absorbing?" I didn't know. Blaze, what do you want me to say? That I am over the moon happy, because I am not. There is a lot going on and now there will be more stress and worries because I will do anything to protect Crystal and now she is carrying my child, that makes it even harder to even let her out of my sight. Well, you broke her, Zanan, you assumed she was sleeping around, she was terrified to even tell you she was pregnant and now I wish she waited until I was in control, at least I wouldn't have made her feel scared and alone. Scared and alone, those two words stayed in my head even after Blaze blocked me out. I thought about what I had said to Crystal and I hated myself for it. I left my office to go and find her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. I couldn't even pick up her scent. I walked down to the kitchen and found Dahlia and Jeff kissing. I looked at them and only then did I realize Dahlia was resting her hand on her stomach. "You too?" I asked before I could even stop myself. They broke apart and Dahlia smiled at me and nodded her head. "Have you seen Crystal?" I asked and Dahlia's whole expression changed. "No, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. You know, Zanan, she is the best thing that ever happened to you and I've seen you hurt her repeatedly, but now you've finally done it, congratulations. I had enough from Blaze and now you too. Can anyone not see my point in this? It's not about your point, it isn't even the fact that she is pregnant, Zanan. You've made her feel guilty and hurt by one single thing you said and then you didn't even acknowledge your part in this. Though why didn't you ask or even think about condoms? Do you know where she is?" "No, she left and didn't say where she was going, only said she needed time." Now it is my turn to get angry, because every time something doesn't go her way, she leaves. Why can she not just face her problems? I found Zane and Tracy outside playing with the pups. I'm happy that the pack accepted Tracy and there have been no problems. Tracy fits in perfectly. She even goes hunting with some of the members and she joined training. I have never seen Zane this happy. I stood there watching them when one pup came up to me. "Hello Alpha, my name is Sydney." I bent down to her level and looked at her. She had short curly golden hair with green eyes and a pouty smile. Her skin looked so soft that I reached out and touched her arm. "It's nice to meet you, Sydney. How old are you?" She smiled at me, and right then I knew what I wanted, and I would give my life if it meant keeping them safe. I'm 6, almost 7. When is your birthday, honey? She scrunched her nose up and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, it had a sparkle in them. Tomorrow, she said. I looked at her and thought to myself, I will give her something, because she just made me realize what I want, and that is the greatest gift anyone has ever given me. Zain came up to her and picked her up, before he set her down again. He looked at me and asked, "Hey man, you okay?" I got up and said, "I know you have seen Crystal. I really do need to talk to her, so tell me please." He gave a sigh and said, "She doesn't want to see you, Zanan. So maybe give her some time, she will be back." "I don't want her later, Zain. I want her now, because this can't wait. I need to fix what I have done." "I'm sorry, Zanan, and whatever it is you need to fix, it'll just have to wait, because when she left she looked murderous and out for blood." Zain patted my shoulder and left. I rubbed my temples and went back inside. "I will fix this, doesn't matter how long it takes." Crystal POV. I was a wreck when I got home, overthinking everything and trying to figure out how will I tell him. Will he be happy? Will he be mad? I went over every scenario in my head about how this may go. Delia went straight to Jeff and I went to Zanan's office. I heard him on the phone, so I waited until he was done before I went in. I opened the door and stepped inside. I tried hiding what I'm feeling, but it seems that I can't. When he saw me, he walked over to me and tried to hug me. I took a step back and went to sit down instead. I looked at him and realized something: he isn't really one with his senses, because he didn't know I was outside the door and he can't seem to sense my distress. That was a relief, but somehow also disappointing. When I asked him about a family, he looked confused and I could feel his every emotion. I know this is sudden and not planned, but it happened and there is nothing either of us can do about it, because killing my children will never even be a thought. It will take some time for him to get used to the idea, and I will give his space and time, but when he said, "I thought you were on the pill or something, because you weren't a virgin." At that moment the only thing that kept me upright was the door. I have never in my life been this hurt by one sentence. He thought I was sleeping around. And that knowledge is killing me, breaking my already broken heart. I had to fight back Raven because she had a lot to say to him, and I could feel the hurt disappearing and anger taking its place. I went looking for Zain and found them in the yard. I told him I need some time, and that is when Delia came out and saw my face and the tears. She walked me to the edge of the woods and I told her what happened. I have never seen her this angry. "It's okay, I just need some time." "Where are you going?" "I don't know, but I have to do something before Raven loses control." "Okay, you go, I will keep him off your back." I gave her a hug and I left. When I was far enough, I shifted into Roxy and we took off. I just need to not feel for a moment, and when Roxy is out everything becomes numb and my mind clear. We ran and ran for what felt like hours but was only a few minutes. We finally stopped at a small pond for a break and water. I can't even think about Zanan. When I think of him I don't even feel anything. "You will be okay," Roxy said and lay down. "I need to kill something, feel my teeth sink into something." "I know just what you need," Roxy said and jumped up. "And what is that?" "A good old-fashioned hunt." We went searching for the biggest animal we could find and found a disgusting group of rogues instead. When they saw us it was like a light went off in their eyes. Some was in human form and some was in their wolf form. Well, what have we here? Is that what I think it is? A marked and mated fox. Well, hello darling, come to have some fun. I couldn't help but feel disgusted. I mean, I have never seen so many disgusting wolves on one place, there must be at least 12 of them. Cat got your tongue. Maybe she doesn't understand. Ah, she understands. How much do you think she'll be worth? More than you know, because they are supposed to be extinct. And that was the last straw, Roxy growled at then and bent down ready to attack. All of them are shifted now and ready for a fight. I could feel Roxy's excitement and that made me excited, a bit more than it should actually. I could feel power rushing through our veins and then everything happened in slow motion. Roxy could predict every movement the rogues will make even before they make it. She dodged and ripped, using teleportation and freaking the rogues out. She circled the few that was left a few times before attacking them head on. By the time she was done we were covered in blood and every rogue dead. It was kind of disappointing because it was over so fast like it never even happened, but the evidence says otherwise. The thing about getting dirty when you shift is that when you shift back to your human self, your skin becomes dirty. You and your animal shares one skin. Roxy ran back home feeling all fresh and giddy and ready for the day. When we got closer to the border I shifted back to human and grabbed the first shirt I saw. I looked down at my body and I was covered in blood, and stink. Great, now how will I get in without someone seeing me? You can always teleport to the bathroom, Roxy said, and Raven immediately disagreed. She'll get sick again. I listened to them bicker and just shut them both out. I walked to the pack house seeing everyone stare at me and I could hear gasps and hush voices. As I got closer to the pack house I looked for Zanan, didn't see him, so I ran upstairs and ran smack into Zane. By the short scream he gave I could tell I startled him. What? He looked at me up and down and covered his mouth. What's see? I'm fine, just had some fun. You are covered in blood and your leg is bleeding, Zane said, and I looked down. I didn't even know my leg was bleeding until now. I could see the bite mark and wondered which one bit me. What happened? Nothing, I said and tried to walk past him. He put his arm out and caught me. I don't know what is going on, but you coming home looking like this and Zanan busting me to know where you are is not working. I'm sorry. What is going on? See, first you were crying and now you are covered in blood. Nothing, just leave it for now please. Zane nodded his head and stepped out of my way. I walked past him and down to our bedroom. When I opened the door I found Zanan sitting on the bed with his head bent down. I stared at him for half a second remembering what he said and did, and I could feel the hurt returning again. He looked up at me and jumped from the bed. What happened to you? Nothing, I'm fine. I'm gonna shower. I grabbed some cloths and Zanan stepped in my way. What, Crystal? This is how you go and work off your anger by getting yourself into danger? You are carrying my pup. You don't even want him, Zanan. I got that message loud and clear, so it is my pup and I protect them. When you are ready to accept your responsibility in this we can talk, but until then, never call them your pups. What do you mean by them and pups as in more than one? It's twins. So yes, just double the stress for you and double the problems. I never said it's a problem, I just said I didn't want to add more stress to our plates. Yes, because I was supposed to be on the pill, right? After I said that I could see the pain and regret in his eyes, but didn't care. He didn't feel anything throwing that in my face, so why should I care now? I walked past him and into the bathroom, locking the door behind me. I took a hot shower, washing all the blood and stink off me. I looked down at my leg and saw it was already healing. By the time I finished showering the water was cold. I switched the shower off and got dressed. When I left the bathroom Zanan was still in the room. I saw your leg. What happened? I got in a fight with 12+ rogues and I didn't know one nipped me, but I am fine thank you. Crystal, you have got to stop doing this. We will something have a fight or disagree about something. You can't always run off. I didn't run, Zanan. I am hurt because you think I slept around, and I was fighting a losing battle with Raven. She was on the verge or coming out, that is why I left. I never run from my problems if that is what you are trying to accuse me of. I'm sorry I said that, I shouldn't have. No, you shouldn't have, but you did. I want to have a family, Crystal, and I am all in. I was just surprised because I didn't think it will happen so fast. And to be honest, I am scared, for them, for you, for me, because I have no idea what is coming. Zanan, I am also scared, but we can't turn back the clock, and I will never ever give them up like our parents did with us. Then we will be a family. Do you really mean that? Yes, from the depth of my soul, and I will love you forever. I was stunned because he said it. He said the word I have been dying to hear from him. I looked at him and said, say that again. I love you, Crystalia Stone, and I will love our pups. I threw my hands around his neck and kissed him, whispering I love you too against his lips. He picked me up and carried me over to the bed, where he showed me just how much he does love me. Zane POV, I am in Delia's house setting up everything for her payback. She thinks I forgot just because I found my mate, but I made promise and I always keep my promises. I have been working on this plan for so long, so I hope it works. I went and downloaded a picture of the thing from the movie, drew it on see-through paper and cut it out. I painted it with see-through glow and the dark paint left it to dry, and now I just finished sticking it to Delia's bedroom full-length mirror. When she switches off the light, the thing will glow, and when she switches it on, it will disappear. I moved the mirror more forward and took a video of the whole setup. I hid my phone behind the mirror, covering it so that just the camera shows. I feel sorry for Jeff because he will need new eardrums. She will kill you for this. Tracy helped me set everything up and to not make it look suspicious. I have been avoiding Delia the whole day, scared that I might give something away. Tracy and I went for a late night walk, leaving her to go hunt. I sat there lost in thought. Everything we ever told about vampires was a lie. Yes, you get good ones and bad ones, but in every species you get good and bad. When I found out that she is a vampire, I didn't care, because I accepted her for who she is as she did me. We spent most of our first days together behind closed doors. I was worried about how the pack will treat her, but seeing her with the pups and training with her makes me long for a family of our own. Neither Zanan nor Crystal has said anything of where they were or what happened. Tracy just said they will talk to everyone when the time is right. I'm all done. Tracy said as she sat down next to me. Did you enjoy it? Yes, and no. I'm a vampire. I need human blood if I want to keep my strength up and stay healthy. Tracy said, and her whole mood changed. She looked sad and worried. I asked Jeff to get some. He said he'll have it by tomorrow. Oh, negative, right? She looked at me and smiled. How did you know? When we met I saw a bag of blood in your bag, and before you say anything I didn't snoop. I was curious to see what you like. And it didn't gross you out or something? No, why should it? You are my mate, that means I accept every part of you. She leaned in and I captured her lips, tasting the blood in her mouth. I should be grossed out or something, but I'm not. When I say I accept every part of her, I really mean it. She is my other half, given to me for a reason, and I will love her and cherish her for as long as she wants me. Della POV, when we got home the first thing I did was look for Jeff and found him in his office. I know why I've been sick and moody. I said, walking straight up to him. I'm happy you know, but why and would you just leave? You didn't even say goodbye. I was thinking and then decided I wasn't up for this, so I just blurted out, I'm 1 month pregnant. That got him to shut up and look at me, and I mean really look at me. He opened and closed his mouth, then tried again. You're pregnant? Yes, I found out today. Is that why you left? No, but it is why we came back. He walked over to me and scooped me up in his arms. I have never felt this happy or this complete. Oh, and did I say it's twins? I said, and I could feel him pull back. The way he is looking at me, he looks like a deer caught in headlights. So it'll be 2 and not 1? How will we even manage that? I mean, you will be so busy and I will be busy, and then sleep will be a problem, and what if they fall or get hurt? What if they are naughty? What if they get bullied? I listened to him ramble on and eventually just said, Jeff, shut up. I still have 3 months to go, and when they come we'll ache it day by day. Yes, but we don't even have a nursery or beds. OMG, they don't even have a room yet. I couldn't help but smile at him. He can sometimes really overthink something and then all sense goes out the window. We can do all that, there is time. He pulled me into his arms and inhaled my scent. I could feel him relax and his breathing even out. We stood like that for what felt like hours, and I couldn't help but think about Crystal. She was really scared when we left. Maybe this will turn Zanian's cold heart a bit warm, even if just a little. Jeff and I left his office and went to get some food. When we turned the corner I saw Crystal talking to Zane, and I can see she has been crying. I could feel my anger rise and my blood boil. Jeff took my hand, but I shook him off and walked over to Crystal. When she looked at me her eyes spoke more words than she ever can. I walked her to the edge of the border and went to get some food. Jeff caught me and asked, is everything okay? No, Zanian should stay out of my way if he still values life. What happened? I told Jeff what Crystal told me and I could feel his mood change. I tell Jeff everything, because at the end of the day he is the only one who understands me. After Zanian left the kitchen I decided to take a walk. I don't know where Crystal went, but I know she will be okay. I haven't seen Zane in a while, it's like he is avoiding me or something. He looks so happy nowadays, almost like nothing can ruin his mood. This pack has been down and under. Everyone is waiting for Zanian to tell us what happened or what will happen, but he never did. Alex and George decided to stay, and to be honest they are not that scary when you get to know them. And they can really talk a lot. I saw Crystal sneaking past the wolves looking as though she took a bloodbath, and honestly I don't blame her, I just feel sorry for whatever she took her anger out on. Zanian POV looking at Crystal sleeping next to me, I can't help but admire her. She is stronger than any woman I have ever met, and she is the most beautiful. I put my hand on her stomach and listened to the heartbeats. Smiling to myself I thought about being a father, and what it means to be one. I don't even know if I will be a good one, I mean I had a terrible role model and I don't want to be anything like him. And you never will, Zanian. I looked over at Crystal and saw her looking at me with so much love. I just want to keep her here and out of danger, but knowing her she will find a way to get out. What are you doing listening to my thoughts? Maybe close the link if you don't want me hearing. What is your plans for today? I asked. Who were you on the phone with yesterday? She asked, almost looking guilty. I wanted to tell her, but now is as good as it will ever be. With Zach. I found a letter from him that he sent to my office and said he had information for me. I didn't want to call him, but I had a question and he knew the answer. You asked him if he knew about who you are? Yes, and he doesn't know, he only knows that I was brought there by a woman. Zanian, you know who you are now and we will do what needs to be done, but for now I have to pee. I groaned and let go of Crystal. She pulled the blanket around her and walked to the bathroom. I stared at her legs and couldn't help but remember that it's the same legs that broke my ribs, and the same girl that won a challenge against me, twice. I don't know what I did to deserve her, and I don't know what she thought by staying. Even though I hurt her repeatedly, she always came back. Crystal came back out and went straight to her closet. What are you doing? I thought we are staying in bed today. She came out and she looked angry. Why are there underwear in my closet that doesn't belong to me? I sat up in bed and looked at her confused. What? She walked back in and came out throwing panty at me. I picked it up and started laughing. This is not funny, Zanan, she said, and pulled on sweatpants and a shirt and left the room. Crystal baby, wait. I called and all I got was leave me alone. Okay, maybe it wasn't a good idea to buy this and not tell her about it. I sighed and got out of bed. Now it begins. Hormones, it's nice to meet you, but I really wish we could have skipped all of this. Crystal POV Zane, where is Tracy and Elia? They are in the yard. Wow, what happened to you? Did someone spit in your coffee? Zane asked and immediately took a step back. Yes, yellow underwear did. I said and walked out of the house to find my girls. I eventually found them playing with some pups. As I walked closer, Delia looked at me and just started laughing. Why is everyone laughing at me? I asked her. See, have you seen your face? It looks like you had a war with lemons and lost. Well, blame Zanan. I went to get dressed and I found woman's underwear in my closet on a very neat pile near the clothes I never wear, and when I asked Zanan, he just laughed at me. Welcome to pregnancy hormones, honey. Anything and everything will irritate you now and you will get angry for small things. Delia said and patted the grass next to her. Tracy looked at me and then at Delia. Wait, hold up. You want to tell me you are both pregnant? Tracy said and her eyes started to sparkle like a kid that just got a new toy. So not only 2 new babies, but 3. No tea, we are both having twins, so it will be 4 new babies. Delia said, and I wish I had my camera with me. The look on Tracy's face made me fell over as I started laughing and I forgot all about my bad mood. She looked like a kid in Wonder World or something. She jumped up and said, I know what I have to do, and you are coming too. She pulled us up from the grass and we walked back inside. Zanan was talking to Zane when we walked past, and by the looks of it Zane looked sympathetic. I stopped and turned around, walking over to Zanan. So whose underwear is it? I asked. Zane looked at Zanan and just said, good luck. And he walked off. Well, even if I tell you, you will not believe me, and if you do you will still hate me, so here is the truth. Zanan said and raised his hands. I bought it for you. It reminded me of the first time I saw you. You were wearing a white t-shirt. That day I have decided that yellow is what I want to see you in without the clothes though. I looked at Zanan, and I wasn't sure what I'm feeling, but silly is definitely something I can name. I threw my arms around him and kissed him, apologizing for the way I acted. I was just about to pull back when I smelled a different scent on him. Who have you been hugging? He looked at me taken aback and just shook his head. This is going to be a very long day, but I cannot tell you. He looked at me and for a second I saw guilt and then nothing. Fine. I'm leaving, I said and walked off. Delia and Tracy was already in my room and they had clothes picked out for me. I can't get the buttons closed, I yelled. Okay, we can try something else. They handed me pants after pants and all of them is the same. I cannot get the buttons closed. I have picked up some weight, not much but enough for my clothes not to fit. This is pointless. I've gotten fat and moody, and Zanan won't want me anymore. What are you talking about? See? I have never seen him happier than he is now. Then why would he be hugging females and can't tell me who it is? I asked and tears just came streaming down my face. Okay, guys, I love you, but I will go and I will see you later. Tracy said, looking uncomfortable and very eager to leave. Dahlia nodded her head and came to stand next to me. She turned me around and made me face the mirror. When I took a look at myself, I gasped and covered my mouth. OMG, I look so horrible. No wonder Zanan is hugging other females. You look beautiful, and you are going to have bad days, but Zanan loves you. See, you have his pups growing inside you, and in just over 2 months you will bring them to life and you will have the family you've always dreamt about. Dahlia said, and I could see that she meant every word. My stomach growled and I realized I haven't eaten yet. What are you feeling for? Dahlia asked, and I smiled. I grabbed her hand and pulled her down to the kitchen. We ransacked the cupboards, taking out everything that involved salt and sugar. We ended up with a countertop filled with chips, cheese, whipped cream, mayo, pickles, Viennas, ham, and many other things. I took my phone out and connected it to the speaker and played Alan Walker at full volume. Dahlia and I made our sandwiches and had a blast in the kitchen. As we started cleaning, Zanan and Jeff came walking in. I turned the music down a bit. Looks like are having fun, Zanan said, and he walked over to our plates and just looked at us. What is this? He asked, scrunching up his nose. He bent down and smelled it. You are not kissing me until you brush your teeth at least 3 times. Zanan said, and I crossed my arms. Jeff looked at Dahlia and just shook his head. What is in this? Zanan asked with a raised brow. A bit of everything, from sweet to sour and salty, I said, and smiled a sardonic smile at him. I walked over to him and said, if you love me you will taste it. I said, and batted my eyelashes at him. I already know what it tastes like. I had one. No, no, no. I will not eat that. Do I look pregnant to you? Just one bite, and I will not be angry at you anymore. Who knows, you might like it. This is blackmail, Zanan said, and narrowed his eyes at me. What is in this? He asked, and just looked at me. I told him everything that is in there and saw how he swallowed and tried keeping a straight face. I handed him the plate and started him down until he picked up the sandwich and took a bite. I watched him chew and eventually he gave up and ran to the dustbin, spitting out everything with a few convulsions in between. He came up and looked at me. You will pay for what you did to me, Zanan said, and he looked sick. Dahlia and I are laughing so hard tears started falling. Dahlia looked at Jeff and he literally ran out of the kitchen shouting good luck. I looked at Zanan and he said, there is a reason men don't get pregnant, and there is a reason they don't eat the same things as the woman. I shrugged my shoulders and said, well, now I know you really love me, I said, and took a bite of my sandwich. Zanan watched me trying not to get sick and eventually he just left. Dahlia and I cleaned up and went to go watch a movie. Anything but romance, please, I asked, and just received a weird look in return. Eliza POV. It's been 2 months since Zara was here to tell us about Donovan and that he died. We have been getting everything ready, training a handful of wolves and getting ready for a war. We don't know is Crystal as Fox, but we are preparing as if she is one. Taking her down will be hard enough, but taking Zanan down will be hard. He is born to be king, and he has the strongest wolf we've seen in over 300 years. What are you thinking? Mario asked when he came into the lounge. Of what is to come. Zanan knows who he is now, and Crystal will want justice for her mother. We will be ready for them, and whatever they throw at us. Just stick to the plan. What plan, Mario? There is no plan. How many more will have to die? As many as it takes. Eliza, Odin was getting out of control and he had to be stopped. It's not just about him, Mario, it is about everything. We are the reason that he was the way he was. We should have never tried to take his fox side away. It wasn't our fault, the witch that helped us didn't know what she was doing and she paid for what she has done. I didn't know we have fox in our bloodline. It doesn't matter, Eliza, but why do you hate foxes so much? Killing them has been banned for years. It doesn't matter, Mario, because my hatred might have just caused us our lives and the kingdom. Mario looked at me and gave a small sigh. I never told anyone why I hate foxes so much, and I lied when I said I didn't know about there being fox in my bloodline, because my grandfather was a fox and my father got the fox genes. When Odin was born, I waited until he shifted on his 12th birthday. When he shifted and he had 2 different color eyes, I knew. So I took him to a witch who said she can help me get rid of the fox without killing him. She messed up. The fox died, but every trait of the fox stayed behind. He didn't have any emotions, he was always challenging everyone, he wanted power and more of it every day. Many paragraphs are missing. He was mischievous and never listened, everything we say he would do the exact opposite. We couldn't trust him anymore, so even when he came of age he never became king, and that is the worst thing you can do to a fox. Deny them power. Eliza, sitting here chasing old ghosts will not get you anywhere. Don't you have something to do? Yes, and you are still my mate, like it or not, so you will be my first priority. Mario said and sat down next to me again. He took my hand in his and said, I know you are stressed and scared, but there is no way around this anymore. I know, and I am done with lying, Mario. Maybe it is time for us to step down. We've been doing this for over 60 years now and I am tired. We can always just leave, go somewhere where no one will ever find us and live our lives without stress and trouble. No, we are king and queen and we will do this the right way no matter the outcome. We had a happy life and we did our best. Mario leaned in and kissed my temple. Together, he said, and then left me alone with my thoughts. Zane POV. Okay, so the scaring Dahlia didn't go as planned, it went down better. If I didn't have my phone on record no one would have ever believed me. The wait was so worth it and the punishment too. Although I don't think so now. Seeing that you are done, Zane, the grass needs to be cut, all around, Crystal said when she walked past me. I'm feeling like a little kid who just got the biggest candy basket of all times. So this is how it happened. Yesterday when Jeff came running out the kitchen like a scared cat, I knew he is going to the hospital, so that didn't bother me. About 30 minutes later Zanan came out and he looked bad. He bent over on the grass and it looks like he might be sick. I walked closer to him and he was white in the face. We sat down and he began telling me what happened. I know I shouldn't have, but when he was done I was rolling on the grass as I laughed. No wonder he looked so sick. I patted his back and we just sat there until he felt better. Where is Dahlia and them now? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. I don't know, and I'm not going to find out. Zanan said and he started looking green again. How long do you think it'll take before all this goes away? Zanan asked and I knew what he meant, but I didn't know what to tell him. Well, 3 months, maybe less now. So you want to tell me until she gives birth? Yup, and this is just the beginning of everything. I said, and Zanan literally fell backwards, closing his eyes. I couldn't help but laugh at him. He turned and looked at me sideways. You just wait until Tracy is pregnant, then we'll be the ones laughing. My laughter died right there. I looked at Zanan and said, don't joke about things, man, that is not cool. He looked at me confused and as if he realized something he just laughed at me. It's that bad, hey? What? She wants to wait until she is 100% sure I will not reject her, or that I'm running some illegal businesses or something. Well, are you? Zanan asked and he had mockery written all over his face. He got up and said he has work to do and left me. I was sitting there all quiet and calm when I heard screaming from the house. I jumped up and ran in, meeting Zanan halfway. We followed the scream and came to a stop outside the entertainment room on the top floor. When we opened the door, we burst out laughing at the scene in front of us. The small couch was tipped over with its back on the floor, with Crystal and Delia's feet hanging in the air. There is popcorn scattered all over the floor, and when we looked closer we could see Delia and Crystal was wet from the face down. Zanan and I was laughing so hard that we couldn't even move to help them. We were just standing there holding our stomachs as the laughing cramps started. I looked up at the TV and laughed even harder. They are watching Lights Out again. If you two are not gonna help, then just get out, Crystal said, and she sounded mad. Zanan walked closer and all that got him was, "Don't touch me, Zanan," and the same with Delia. He came back with his hands raised and left the room laughing as he goes. Instead of leaving, I started picking up the popcorn from the floor, then went to help Delia and Crystal. I was getting it from the both of them, but at least I could help them. When the room was clean and popcorn free, they switched off the movie and went to the kitchen. After we had dinner, Crystal made everyone a cup of her famous hot chocolate and went to sit outside. No one knows why she always sits outside looking at the stars, and I don't think anyone has asked her before. Delia said good night to everyone. Jeff is still busy, so Crystal is walking her home. I didn't say anything and followed them at a distance. I can't wait for them to open that door. I tried not laughing, but found it almost impossible with my brain conjuring up images and scenes of how this might go. I watched them walk into the house, switching in the kitchen light. I didn't switch the bedroom light off because the glow-in-the-dark paint needs the light to glow. Delia got into bed and Crystal said good night. Standing by the light switch with her back to the mirror, she switched off the light. Delia jumped up and shouted for the light. Crystal switched it on again, looking at Delia confused. "What is it, Dee?" Delia tried speaking, but nothing came out. She started shivering and threw the blanket over her face. Crystal switched the light off again and walked out. Just as she got to the door, she heard Delia crying and went back. When she looked up and saw the mirror, she switched the light on faster than ever before. Delia looked at her and asked, "You saw it too?" Crystal nodded her head and looked at Delia. She switched the light off again and they both screamed. And I mean screamed. Crystal ran over to Delia and jumped into bed with her. I was rolling on the ground crying as I laughed. I heard footsteps and knew that everyone heard them. I was laughing so hard my stomach cramped and I had tears streaming down my face like there is no end to them. When I opened my eyes, Zanan and Jeff was standing over me and they tried not to laugh, but look serious. And that was my downfall, I couldn't stop laughing. The next morning I went to take my phone and it was on 3%. I hope it saved the video, I said, and ran to my room for my charger. I went through the video and everything is there, even the ending that I missed. Crystal and Delia sat under the blankets and debated on who is going to look. Delia's head came out and went back in, and that is when the crying and shivering started. My stomach is so sore from all the laughing, but there I went again and had a laughter attack. Zane, my laughter died and I swallowed hard. Zane, get down here now. Okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. 2 pregnant hormonal females equals my death, I thought to myself as I opened my door and walked down. I held my hands up, raising them higher the closer I got to a very angry looking Delia and Crystal. Okay, so, we will not kill you, they said, and I relaxed, but and here it comes. But you will spring clean this whole house, from top to bottom including the kitchen. You will make piles with the fallen leaves and pick them up. When you are done there will be one more job, but you will only know what that is when you are done. I swallowed audibly and wished they could have killed me instead. Cry it slow POV. I feel like having chocolate with ice cream, not chocolate ice cream, I said and gave the bowl back to Zanan. He looked at me and threw his hand in the air. it's the same thing, both are chocolate," he said and walked off to the kitchen. My stomach has become so huge over a month's time that when I stand up I cannot even see my feet, or tie my own shoes. Let alone find something to wear that still fits, and lately I've only been wearing Zanan's shirts or sweatpants. I only have a month more to go, then this will be all over. When Zanan came back he was carrying a bowl of vanilla ice cream and 2 chocolates. One is hazelnut and the other is peppermint. I smiled and took it from him. "Thank you," I said and started eating. "How is this any different than chocolate ice cream?" Zanan asked and I just shook my head. He got the message and left me to eat in peace. Zane never tried anything again, but he also didn't let us forget the video and what he will do with it. We tried finding it on his phone, just to be told that he put it on a USB and hid it where we won't find it. Tracy has been in her glory, shopping for baby clothes and helping getting the nurseries ready for both me and Elia, so we don't see her much. Zanan and Jeff found a new hiding spot they think we don't know about. I don't know why I miss a man I have never met until a few months ago, but I have been reliving Donovan's memories over and over again. Especially the ones my mother is in. I can't help but compare myself to her. She laughs like me, and she has the same attitude as me. She doesn't like scary movies and she had weird cravings when she was pregnant with me. Through Donovan's memories it feels like they are here, helping me, teaching me, but most of all I can feel the love they had for me even before I was born. I felt the couch dip and arms go around me. When I looked at the person it was Tracy. "Why are you crying?" she asked. I moved my hands over my face, and true I am crying. I didn't even notice that I'm crying. I looked at her and said, I miss him and I wish I had more time with him, to get to know him the way you did." I could see realization sinking in. She made herself more comfortable and looked at me. She took my hands in hers and said, "If you want to you can see my memories I have of him, they aren't all pretty but it's something that might help you. I don't know how he was when your mother was still alive, but I know how much it has destroyed him when she died." I thought about it and kindly refused. "I don't want to ruin the memories I have of them. Come, let's go for a short walk and then you can go and sleep for a bit," Tracy said, and I couldn't refuse her. She helped me up and the minute I got up the babies started kicking, and this is worse than all the other times. I groaned and grabbed my stomach, rubbing small circles. This is the worst, but also the best feeling. It feels like they are tearing up my insides, but I'm happy because I know they are still okay. "Okay, we'll leave the walk and go straight to bed." Tracy helped me up the stairs and took me to bed. She sat with me until I drifted off to sleep. Tracy POV leaving Crystal and Elia was never part of the plan, but with their mood swings and whining just wasn't for me, so I left on my own and went baby shopping. Zane gave me his card, but I didn't need it because I have money of my own. I went into multiple stores and as I walk I can feel people staring and men lusting after me. When I started buying clothes and cribs I wondered how everything will fit into the car. We'll just have to make it fit then. Ever since I found Zane everything is perfect, and I mean perfect. He isn't pushing or nagging me about mating. Every time I go for a hunt he goes with me, and the best thing is he listens when I talk and he's there when I'm having a bad day. Everything about him is just perfect, his smile, his gentleness, the way he talks every day, it makes me fall in love with him more and more. "Excuse me miss, do you need some help?" I heard a lady ask. I looked at her and realized I was so lost in my thoughts that I was just standing there staring at the box in my hand. "I'm actually looking for crib decorations, you know those things they hang from above that plays the lullaby," I said, and I sounded silly because I have no idea what they are called. "Right at the end of the aisle you will find what you are looking for." I thanked the lady and moved on. I found everything there, even baby monitors, baby. I just bought everything. On my way to the car I was feeling silly, because why didn't I take the SUV? I got most of the things but not everything. I still need paint, lights, books, blankets, and chairs, one for Dahlia and one for Crystal. A nursery is not completed without a rocking chair. It is already dark when I get home, so I parked the car and decided to offload tomorrow. As I walked through the house I could hear laughter and someone kept saying, "Things could have been worse, they are both pregnant." And then I heard Zane's laughter and knew that our prank worked. I walked in and found them all hunched over as they laughed. Zane filled me in on what happened and he showed me the video right after he told me how they found Dahlia and Crystal in the TV room upstairs. I know it was rude of me, but I couldn't help but laugh when I saw the video. Needless to say, Zane got punishment and I went to work. After a month and a half the nurseries are finally done and I am happy with my work. As I stood there admiring what I have done I couldn't help but think how I would one day decorate my nursery. I rubbed a hand over my flat stomach and all this baby talk and decorating made me wish I could have a baby, but this is not the time. I walked out to go and find Crystal to show off my work, but instead I found her crying on the couch. I called her name, but she looks so lost in thought that I don't think she heard me. I sat down next to her and just threw my arms around her. I might have an idea of what she is thinking about, and it was confirmed when she started talking about him. I wish I could bring them back for her, or at least have her see him one last time. As soon as Crystal fell off to sleep I left and found Zanan in his office. I told him to keep an eye on Crystal, her cramps are getting worse. He thanked me and walked off to their room. What to do now? Dahlia already knows about her nursery. I finished hers first. She isn't as moody as Crystal, but she is tired a lot and sleeping most of the time. Only one more month to go and then the babies will be here. There you are, I was looking for you. Zane said as he snuck up behind me and pulled me against his chest. He knows everything that happened because I told him. So he knows about Zanan and the war that is to come. He has been training with me, learning new skills and new tactics, and he has built more muscle and he looks more tanned. Crystal is sleeping, Dahlia I sleeping, the nurseries are done, so I am all yours again. I said and leaned into him. Well, we can always go for a run. My wolf has been bugging for days non-stop. First one to the pond then? I asked and Zane was already getting undressed. When he shifted his wolf looked bigger, I ran my hand through his fur and listened to him almost purring. He gave me a wholesome grin and took off running. I am faster than him so I gave him a head start. Zanan POV I love Crystal, but these mood swings is a bit too much now. From moment to moment she changes, friendly, sad, angry, lovable, irritated, and then there is the crying. I have never seen a woman cry this much. I mean, how much tears does a woman have? I left her on the couch and walked off to my office. I have been slacking on work looking after Crystal and her every need, so now I have catch up. Kyle has been doing most of my work for me, like attending meetings and doing the office stuff. Zane has been helping him, but he is mostly here at home. I can't wait for these babies to be out. Tracy came to tell me that Crystal is sleeping and that her cramps are getting worse. Jeff said it's normal, because she is carrying the babies of a strong wolf. I felt sorry for her the first time I saw her getting a cramp and her whole face scrunched up in pain. I didn't know what to do or how to help her. Every time she gets one of these cramps her eyes changes color. I guess her wolf is helping her by taking some of the pain. I checked on her and saw she is sleeping, then I went back to work. I haven't spoken or heard from Zach after our phone call and it still bothered me that he knew and never told me, I mean we used to be close before I got sent away. And after my sister died everything changed. I was looking through the books on the shelf looking for a specific book. I tried pulling out one book and heard something click. What? I asked myself and pulled the book again, but it is stuck to the shelf. I looked around for something that looks odd or out of place, because I have no idea what clicked. I pushed the book back and pulled again, and this time the whole bookcase moved. I pulled it forward but it didn't move. I walked to the side and pushed it, and only then did it move. Standing in front of a brown half door, I could feel my heart racing and my palms began to get sweaty. I don't know if I should open the door or just pretend I've never found it. Yeah, like that is going to happen. I scoffed at myself and laid my hand on the door handle. Once you see what is behind here you can never unsee it, Zanan. So you have to be 100% sure. Do you know what is behind this door? And don't lie. No, and even if I didn't, don't you think I would tell you? No, I don't think so, because you have been keeping a lot of things from me and I don't know, maybe you could be hiding more. It was for your own good, Zanan, and you know that. Do I, Blaze? I cut him off and pushed handle down. Whatever is on the other side, I hope it helps me and not leave me more confused. Zanan POV. As I stand here in front of the door, I pushed it open a little and was greeted by darkness. I waited for my eyes to adjust before I stepped in, and thank heavens I did, because there's steps and nothing to hold on to. The further I go down the colder it gets, and the more it starts to smell. I stepped down from the last step and looked around. Even through Blaze's eyes I couldn't see much, and I wish my nose was blocked. I looked around to see if I can find a light switch and found a string hanging from the ceiling. I closed my eyes and pulled the string. I took a deep breath and cleared my mind, preparing myself for what I'm about to see. I opened my eyes and stood there stunned and at a loss for words. Right in front of me is a table 3 times the size of my office desk, papers and books scattered all around, some open and some closed. I stepped closer and looked at the first book that caught my eyes. It looks very old, almost an antique. I looked down and read the title, Gift of a Fox. Why would this be here? I looked at more books and almost every one of them was about foxes. Who is there? I heard, and I swear my heart stopped beating. I looked around and I couldn't see anyone. What? Now I'm really losing my mind. Just when I was about to let it go I heard again, who is there? I still couldn't see anyone. Who are you? I asked and waited. After about 2 minutes of silence I really feel as though I'm going crazy. I turned around and that was a mistake. I yelped and jumped back, cursing as I go. I tried getting my wild beating heart under control, but nothing I did worked. Calm down, will ya? It's not like I'm gonna kill you. I looked at the tiny person in front of me and for the first time I had a look at its features. I have never in my life seen something like this. Before I could think I asked, "What are you?" It looked at me and smiled. At that moment I really didn't want to be here. All I could see was small sharp pointy teeth as white as snow. As small as they are, they look dangerous. I looked at its eyes and couldn't decide what they remind me of, a black hole or a glitter ball. Its eyes are black and sparkly, and it is very small. I think 3 feet is too tall. It has sharp pointy ears, but too big for an elf. And the hair, OMG, don't get me started on the hair. It looks like he grabbed onto a live wire and never let go. It's literally standing up in every direction you can think of. You know it is very rude to stare, mister. It said and took a step closer, causing me to take a step back. What are you? I asked, and I couldn't help but stare. Never in my life have I came across this type of species, and I've never even heard about it. I don't know what I am, I haven't thought of a name for myself yet, seeing that I am the only one of my kind and have been hiding in here afraid of what the world might do to me if they found me. But, I have a name and you can call me Spike. At least that is what he called me. I looked at him and this suited him perfectly. What do you mean him? I asked and knelt down. The one who found me and gave me my name, he brought me here and since then I've been in here. The one that looks like you took me in and looked after me. I haven't seen either of them in so long, I was down here and waiting for them, they kept me company. Do you have his name Spike? I asked and I don't know what I was hoping for, but I didn't expect to hear this. Yes, his name was Donovan, and he brought me here to Odin saying I will be safe here. You knew my father? I asked before I could stop myself. Spike looked at me and I swear his eyes has more sparkles in them. You are the lost prince? Spike asked and his shocked face almost looks scarier than his normal face. What species are you from, Spike? I asked, changing the subject. I think my father was a troll and my mother a river fairy or vice versa, I don't know, but I do know that I'm not supposed to exist. What have you been doing down here? I like reading and I have been studying foxes for a long time. They are truly magnificent. I stayed down and spoke to Spike for a few more minutes then decided to go up. He doesn't want anyone to know he is here, not unless he knows it is safe. He said that the pack Odin had here were violent. They had only one purpose and that was to kill. I explained to him that with our pack it is different and that he can come out and he can be part of us. He said he would think about it and all he asked was for fish and raw meat, preferably with big bones. I closed the door again and pushed back the bookcase making sure I left no traces that it was opened. I didn't know how to feel or what to think, I mean there is a small creature living beneath the house and I never even knew about it. Sitting back on my chair the door swung open and a scared-looking Zanan came running in. I don't know what to do anymore, and hiding is not working. I have 2 pregnant females on my back and guess what, they aren't even my females. Go and sort Crystal out before she gives birth or explodes. I looked at Zanan confused and then I heard it, Zanan, where are you? He looked at me with a pleading face and puppy dog eyes I have never seen on a man before. I got up from my chair and gave a loud sigh. I told Zanan to go to your room and stay there and walked off to find Crystal and a shouting Delia. Delia POV I was just waking up from a good nap when I heard my stomach growl. I got out of bed and went into the pack house to find some food. When I walked into the kitchen I found Zanan eating my last strawberry mousse bowl. I wasn't in a bad mood, but after seeing him I got angry. What do you think you are doing? I asked and he literally jumped. He looked at me and then hid his hands behind his back. You are awake. I was just about to come and see if you want something. Zanan said and just looked at me and then at the door. What are you eating? I asked him and he just smiled a guilty smile and took his hand out from behind his back holding the other one up in surrender. That was mine, Zanan. I shouted and then Crystal came in. She looked at me and smiled and then she looked at Zanan. What have you eaten this time? She asked him. He held up the strawberry mousse and said, it was just standing there and then I heard it calling my name saying, eat me please. He tried joking and if I wasn't so mad then I might have laughed at the way he said it and the way he pulled his face. Crystal walked over to the fridge and started looking for something. Where is it, Zanan? She asked and looked directly at him. Where is what? I asked looking between the two of them. My chocolate mousse. Zanan looked at the door and then he ran. Seeing that Crystal and me cannot run after him we started shouting at him and walking after him. By the time we made it to the stairs he was long gone. Ladies, my beautiful girls, what has poor Zanan done now? Zanan asked as he came downstairs. Crystal and I looked at Zanan and then we both shouted for Zane at the same time, causing Zanan to cover his ears. He went and called you. I asked Zanan, who just raised his hands and said, he didn't know where else to go, and might I say, I get why he is scared of you, so what has he done now? Crystal started climbing the stairs, but Zanan stopped her. Let me go, Zanan. If he wants to call you then I can call Tracy, can't I? Crystal asked. Zane ate my last strawberry mousse and he ate Crystal's chocolate mousse. I said, and Zanan just looked at us, opening and closing his mouth, and then he just let out a sigh. It's just mousse, we can go to the store and get some more. That is not the point, Zanan, the point is it wasn't his to take. Crystal said. Zanan looked at us and rubbed his head. When are you due? He asked me and I said 2 weeks. Crystal looked at him and said, I don't know. Jeff said the babies will know when it's time because my pregnancy was too fast for his liking. Zanan rubbed his head and took us by our arms and walked us to the kitchen, opening a cupboard, and it was a little fridge. In that little fridge was more mousse. We looked at him and hugged him, simultaneously kissing him on the cheeks. Now will you please leave Zane alone? Zanan asked and smiled at us. Yes. Crystal and I said. Crystal smelled something because I can see her nose moving. She leaned in closer to Zanan and smelled him. Where have you been? She asked and covered her nose. He looked at her and then just shook his head, saying, You don't wanna know. You need a bath and very strong shower gel. Crystal said and walked out of the room. I took a strawberry mousse and walked to the TV room to relax. I have been sleeping so much that I lost track of the days. I need to be awake for a while. I put on Supernatural and tried to make sense of the movie. At first it bored me and now I can't stop watching. It's 4 in the morning, Jeff said for the 10th time. Go to bed then and leave me here. No, the whole point is to go to bed with you, that is why I'm sitting here. Well, I really want to see what happens next, so sleep here then. And he did. He went to fetch a blanket and he laid down with his head on my lap. About 10 minutes later he was out like a candle. In just 2 weeks we'll have 2 babies and we will become parents. I was thinking about names for a while now and I don't know which one to pick. Jeff said I can name the babies and if he doesn't like the names we'll change it. So I was thinking that seeing they are boys and that they will be twins, I will call them Theo and Tristan. I could feel them kicking, so I put my hand on my belly and smiled to myself. I watched the rest of season 1 and couldn't put in season 2 because Jeff is still sleeping on my lap. I looked out the window and saw the sun is coming up and I still don't feel tired. Jeff stirred and opened his eyes looking at me. He groaned and covered his face with the blanket. You never even slept. I'm not tired and season 1 just finished and I didn't want to wake you, but seeing that you are awake now, can I please change it? He groaned and sat up, scratching the back of his head and stretching his arms. I got up from the couch and changed the seasons. Around 8 AM I went and took a shower, grabbed something to eat and went back to watching my movie. That is where I stayed the whole day until I eventually fell asleep. Crystal POV: I can't wait for these babies to come out. I mean, I love being pregnant, don't get me wrong, but I cannot do these mood swings anymore. I mean, I'm happy 1 minute, crying the next, and then I want to peel Zanan's face off and hang it out to dry. He is hiding from me most of the time and I don't even blame him. I mean, if I could I would hide from me too. Zane has been getting it bad from Delia and me because he has been eating all our things, and then calling Zanan when he gets caught. Delia has a quiet pregnancy, she has been sleeping most of the time, but lately she has been watching Supernatural and now she is hooked. She barely sleeps and she only gets up if she goes to the bathroom, or if she is hungry. I've been watching a few episodes with her, but it isn't for me though. I'm sitting on the grass just looking at the young children playing and I can't wait to see the twins playing with them. Dalia is having twin boys and I'm having twin girls. We are the exact opposite from each other. She has chosen the names for the boys already and I haven't even thought of names yet. Zanan gave a few names, but I think I should wait until they are born and see what kind of personalities they have and give them a name that would suit them. When I turned my head to the left I saw Sydney running up to me with one of the dolls Zanan bought in her hand. "Luna, why are you alone?" she asked and she looked sad. "I'm not alone, baby, I have you to keep me company," I said and looked at her smiling brightly at me and not looking sad anymore. She held up the doll for me to see and said this is my favorite one between all of them. Zanan bought her the whole Barbie set with the house and car and all the dolls. I was sitting there talking to Sydney when I smelled Zanan from behind me. I haven't seen him since the morning and all he said is he has some work to do. "What are you up to?" he asked sitting down behind me pulling me against his chest. I laid back and rested my weight on him. "I have something to show you and you will never believe what I found," Zanan said and pulled back a bit. I turned around and looked at him. "What have you found?" He pulled away from me and stood up from the grass helping me to my feet. "You'll have to see it to believe it," he said and pulled me towards his office. He pulled me inside and locked the door behind us. "Okay, before you freak out, let me explain a few things to you." I looked at him half confused and very interested and I don't even know what he is about to tell me. "Okay, what is it?" I asked and only got a smile from him. He walked over to the bookcase and pulled a book. But instead of the book coming out I heard a click, and watched Zanan as he pushed away the bookcase and reveal a door like half the size of a normal one. "Okay, it is dark, but only when we go down can I switch on the light." "You want me to go down there?" I asked, horror visible on my face. Zanan took my hand and guided me down the stairs. "Okay, are you ready?" Zanan asked and switched the light on. I couldn't believe what I am seeing. Light everywhere and books are lining the walls and the huge table in front of me. I was so stunned about what I'm seeing that I didn't pay attention to anything until Zanan cleared his throat. I looked at him and then beside him. I jumped back and nearly fell on my butt. I covered my mouth and tried not to scream and pointed to the small ugly-looking thing. "What is that?" I asked and just received laughter from both of them. When it opened its mouth I felt like passing out. Never in my life have I seen so many small sharp teeth in a mouth. His name is Spike and he is the only one of his kind. You wondered where I went to? Well, this is where I come to. I found him by accident and since then I felt bad for leaving him alone since he has been alone for so many years. I came and kept him company. I told him about you and that you are half fox and he just wanted to meet you. He is fascinated with foxes and I couldn't disappoint him, so here we are." He looked down at Spike and said, "Spike, this is my mate Crystalia." I looked at Spike and I could see the black pools he has. His eyes started to sparkle so much that it looks like two black pools with millions of stars shining in them. "And you never said she is pregnant?" he said to Zanan, and I fell in love with him at that moment. He has the softest, smoothest voice I have ever heard. I looked at Zanan and then at him. "Yes, well, she is due in 2 weeks. Zanan said and smiled at me. Spike looked at us, and asked if he can come closer to me. Zanan was hesitating, but then I stepped forward until I was in front of Spike. He looked at me and then at my belly. He came closer and raised a hand. At first I got a shock because I have never in my life seen a creature like this. His arm is bigger than his hand and his fingers are webbed together almost like a fish's fin. "What are you?" I asked and looked at him in pure curiosity. "I don't know," he said and looked down. "He is half troll and half river fairy," Zanan said and looked at me almost pleading not to ask any more questions. I looked at Spike and, smiled at him, he raised his hand again and put it flat on my belly. I watched his reaction and I couldn't believe what I am seeing. What is happening? I asked Zanan, and him too was just standing and staring, dumbstruck and speechless. What is happening? And why is he glowing? I asked Zanan and just stared at Spike. Zanan POV: I have been spending time with Spike and finding out more things about him. He lives in the water and on land. He has small gills on his ribs which allows him to breathe underwater. He likes raw meat with bones. It keeps his teeth clean and the bones strengthens his teeth. He doesn't like bright light although he enjoys sunlight. I also found out that he loves chocolate milk. I can't see why, because whenever he drinks milk he complains about his stomach, so I will only be giving him milk every once in a while. His eyes sparkles more when he gets excited and he has this thing about knowledge. He reads about anything and everything. The knowledge he has is way and beyond me. I told him about Crystal and he got so excited that he actually started jumping up and down. He grabbed my hand and pulled me down to his level. How did you do that? I asked him, looking at him shocked and confused. Oh, you mean me pulling you down? Yes, I have a lot of strength and I'm very heavy too. He said, looking at me. I can believe the strength, but him being heavy I don't believe. I looked at him and he said, pick me up, because I can see you don't believe me. He looked at me and his was serious, so I stood back up and bent down. Okay, I put my hands under his arms on both sides and lifted him. I heard something pop in my back and I only lifted him like halfway. I put him down and groaned in pain. What, I think you broke my back? I said, holding my back and sounding a bit too dramatic. I told you. Spike said, and he looked proud of himself. Your back will be fine in a second. I looked at him and now I will believe everything he says, even if he tells me the sun I blew. Okay, so you really don't know what you are? I asked him, raising a brow. Well, I found some books in here that mentions my gifts and abilities I have, but they don't resemble my mother or father. So I have no idea what I am, but enough about me. I want to meet your mate. You said that she is a fox, and I have ever met a fox in real life. I smiled at him and left to go find Crystal. I went searching through the whole house and couldn't find her, but I found Delia sleeping on the couch in front of the TV. I walked in and threw a blanket over her, smiling to myself. She has been a dream compared to Crystal. I walked out and saw Crystal on the grass talking to Sydney. The way my heart warmed up at that moment cannot be explained or put into words. I stared at them for a while until I could see that Crystal sensed me and I walked over to her. It felt good to have her in my arms after a long morning and an even longer day. When I saw her expression after meeting Spike, I couldn't help but laugh. It was priceless and so adorable that I couldn't help but stare at them. Spike looked like a kid that got taken into a candy store. His eyes lit up like the galaxy just came to life in them. When he spoke to Crystal, he was so soft and gentle that if I wasn't here to see it I would never have believed it. Crystal came closer and allowed Spike to touch her belly, and when he did, the most amazing thing happened and I have never seen anything like it. Many paragraphs are missing. Read the complete book on JO=BNIB. C-O-M. He is literally glowing, and I mean glowing. It looks like someone poured white glow in the dark paint all over him. It strangely looks beautiful and it is very frightening because we don't know what is happening. I saw Crystal looking at me, fear visible in her eyes, but at the same time curiosity and wonder. I showed her to stay calm and keep breathing. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, her wolf and fox is on the surface. Her eyes are a mixture of blue and green with a purple lining, and her pupils aren't black but white. I stared at her and then at Spike, wondering what is going on. Spike's glowing went down and he stepped back from Crystal looking at her. They will be beautiful and very much loved. Spike said and looked at me. And their names will be Isabella and Hazel, but you will know which is which when they are born. Spike said and he left. I called after him but he walked off, and didn't come back. Spike POV. It feels nice having company, but I am not used to it so I have to get used to it again. I have been alone for years watching them from a distance, observing and getting to know them. They are all much different from the pack that used to stay here and they even accepted a witch and vampire into the pack. I have never seen a pack function like this one. They are like one big happy family coming from different background, but being accepted for who they are. I wanted to come out, but I was afraid. Afraid of being rejected or worse, killed. When Zanan stumbled in here I thought Odin is back, but when I took a closer look I could see the resemblance and the differences. Zanan's features are sharper and he has stronger cheekbones and he is more buff. I can't believe he came back, and that with meat and things I asked for. I usually go out and hunt, but lately I have been afraid because Zanan's pack has been growing. I love him and the company he bring, but he has a lot of questions and I lied about what I am, because I know what I am and like foxes we were hunted down and used for our gifts and we were wiped out completely after the war between the vampires and the wolves. I escaped and hid myself only coming up if I need something, because I wasn't always feeling for fish. When I touched Crystal I saw everything, from where she came from and what she will do, the decisions she will make and how she will change the lives of every supernatural creature and I saw the future of her twins and how they keep their mother's work alive. I know Crystal has been struggling with their names so I gave her the names, but didn't tell her which one is for who. I couldn't look at them afterwards because I don't want to give them the answers to the questions. Not yet anyway. I went back into the water and sunk until I was at the bottom and then started walking so that I can get to the outside world. The little pond I have down here leads to the river outside the pack border. So I just walk and walked, until I could see the light. I am Gargoyle. We were once protectors for the royal families in every species, until a traitor started the war based on his knowledge. We are creature of both the water and the land. After the vampires won the war based on one of my kind's knowledge they had all of us killed and those who went into hiding was sniffed out and hunted down. I went into the water and didn't come out until a few hundred years later. I have never met a fox and I didn't think that I ever will. But now I did and I would love to see her when she shifts. Foxes were being hunted down round about the same time we were, but for them they were killed because of their nature. Mischievousness, emotionless, carelessness, and their hunger for power, but what I have seen in Crystal it is everything but that. She is kind and gentle, she is loving and she will give anything to save the ones she loves. Dalia POV. I can't find her anywhere and I am done looking. I woke up from the couch and for some reason I wanted to be near Crystal and see what she is up to, but I couldn't find her and I couldn't find Zanan either. Jeff was sleeping in his office because he hasn't been sleeping well and now he blames me. The babies are kicking me so that I can actually see their feet through my tummy. I woke up and I feel like crying and laughing and then more crying. And guess what? I don't even know where I left my shoes. This pregnancy is getting too much now. I gave a sigh and walked into the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water and then left again. All of this is now too much for me and I don't know what to do or who to talk to. The sun was hitting my face in all the right places and kissed me with its warmth. Hey, Dee, how are you? I heard from behind me and turned around to find Tracy looking at me as if seeing me for the first time. I looked at her and the world started spinning. I took a deep breath trying to calm down, but nothing happened. I felt wetness run down between my legs. At first I thought I wet myself because it happened before, but this wasn't the smell of pee. And at that moment I felt the worst kind of cramp that I have ever felt throughout my whole pregnancy. I groaned from the pain and clutched my stomach. "Dahlia, I think you are in labor," Tracy said and was by my side. She put my arm around her neck and walked with me to the hospital. I have been swearing and breathing heavily the whole way and now it feels like I want to push. Jeff came running towards me with a bed and all he said was, "Whatever you do, do not push." I looked at him and shouted. "What do you mean?" He just looked at me and repeated, "Do not push." I screamed and tried not to push, but it happened as if on its own accord. Jeff looked at me and started walking faster. Tracy POV Zanan has been the sweetest guy ever. If he isn't hunting with me then he is running me bubble baths and candle-lit dinners. Even though he is the only one eating, I have no idea what to do with myself, so I decided to go for a long walk and just clear my head. Zanan is the perfect guy, so why am I holding back? Why am I still afraid? Okay, maybe taking a walk and clearing my head wasn't such a good idea. I scoffed at myself. I have never felt this way about someone in my life and I don't think I will ever find someone like him again. There are precautions to take so that I don't get pregnant, but there is always a risk. I walked back to the pack house and found Dahlia standing alone outside looking lost and sad. She didn't look like her normal self, she somehow looked more flushed. I walked up to her and she was still speaking when I saw water running down her leg. At first I thought her bladder failed her, but the way she was breathing and the horror on her face told me she is in labor. Jeff came running towards us with a bed and helped Dahlia get on. We don't know what happened because she screamed and pushed after Jeff told her not to, but I guess these boys wants to come out now. Jeff started walking faster and I was right there holding Dahlia's hand. Seeing the pain Dahlia is going through is giving me more of a reason to hold onto my virtue for just a while longer. Dahlia was squeezing my hand so hard it started turning white. I tried pulling it out of her grip, but it only tightened. "You did this to me," she said and looked at Jeff who is trying to work as fast as he can. "I'm sorry baby, just don't push okay?" Jeff said and finished setting up the machines. Dahlia's face scrunched up in pain. "I think she is ready to push again," I said to Jeff and saw him looking horrified. "I don't know how to do this. I mean I am a doctor, but it's like I just forgot all my years of training and studying," he said and blew out a long breath. "Just get them out of me," Dahlia said and now she is growing impatient. "Okay, when you feel another contraction I want you to push," Jeff said. Dahlia gripped my hand and screamed so loud that Zanan came running in and left again immediately. "I can see the head," Jeff said and smiled at Dahlia. "Wipe that smile of your face, because the work is not done, and you can forget about getting anything from me," Dahlia said and screamed again. The door opened up and Crystal came in looking as though she is in pain. "I'm sorry I'm late," Crystal said and stood at the other side of Dahlia, rubbing her forehead and soothing her hair back. "You came, that is what matters," Dahlia said and gave a final push falling back with her head and breathing loudly. It wasn't even 10 seconds and then she started pushing again. I left her side to take the baby from Jeff so he can get to the other one. Holding the baby in my arms everything else just sort of faded away and all that existed was him and me. At that moment I couldn't think of anything else than having my own little bundle of joy. I wrapped him in a blanket and looked into his green eyes. He has Jeff's eyes so green they almost look blue and he will have dark hair and sharp features too. Dahlia gave one final push and it was all over. Both boys are out and healthy. I gave the one I was holding to Dahlia and took the other baby, wrapping him in a blanket and looking down at him. He has golden brown eyes like Dahlia and very soft features. They will be the perfect replicas of Dahlia and Jeff. And they will have so much love. I looked at Jeff and he was staring at me, not saying anything. He walked closer to me and wiped his thumb over my cheek and I could feel the wetness. I didn't even realize I was crying. I handed him the baby and excused myself from the room. When I looked up I saw Zanan and Zane together with Lily and Kyle and a few other wolves. Zane looked at me and walked up to me with open arms. I fell into his arms and just let out my sadness. "Hey, what is wrong?" Zane asked and I tried answering him, but everything just came out like a sob. He put his arm around my shoulder and walked me out of the hospital and away from everyone. We paused outside and he looked at me. "Hey, are you okay?" I looked at him and wiped my tears. Taking a deep breath I said. I was just holding them and all I wanted was babies of my own. My whole life I have dreamt about having a family of my own and being loved. And now seeing Delia and Christy make me envious of them, but I know that the timing now is terrible, but I want babies and a lot of them, but only when it is safe and we know what is happening. We will have babies, however many you want, and they will be loved, and you are loved. Our world and our lives will not be this upside down forever. Zane said and kissed my forehead. I feel so loved and wanted that I almost have everything I want. Crystal POV. I have never seen a more beautiful picture moment than the moment Delia held her babies, one in each arm with Jeff sitting beside her. I rubbed my belly and I can't wait until I can hold my babies. I looked at Delia and Jeff knowing that this is how Zanan and I will look like to them. Standing there I feel so out of place, so I decided to open the door and let everyone see that Delia and the babies are okay and they are healthy. Zanan came in and he had so much love in his eyes that I almost started crying. He kissed me before he went to Delia's side, congratulating them and looking at the babies. He looked up at me and winked. I can't help but think about Spike and what he said. How did he know what the girls' names would be? And what is he? Where does he come from? I have so many questions for him and no answers to them. Zanan looks preoccupied with the babies, so I decided to step out for a second. What are we gonna do? I asked myself, because nothing has been brought up, no decisions has been made and no one talks about what happened. Zanan found out he is the lost prince and future king, and he is treating it like it is no big deal. I found out my mother was killed in cold blood and I'm still not sure how to feel about that. My father literally died of a broken soul, and here I am waiting for the day my babies are born. I was so lost in thought I didn't hear anyone coming up to me until someone touched my leg. I looked down and saw Spike. He was looking at me and I didn't know what emotion was behind his eyes, but I could tell he looks sad, or worried. What are you doing here, Spike? Someone could see you. He looked at me and smiled so wide that all his pointy teeth are on display. I just had to see if you are okay, he said and shrugged his shoulder. How old are you, Spike? I asked before I could stop myself, and I didn't know why I asked, but when I saw his reaction I had to know the answer. How about you tell me something, he said and came to stand in front of me. Sure, what is it? I asked and decided to play along. Have you ever seen your own eyes? Spike asked, and for a reason I was confused because why would he ask something like that and why so specific? No, I haven't. Why? I asked with a raised brow. I've read that when a fox stares into her own eyes her true personality is revealed and her true motives comes forth. And they cannot lie to themselves. I stared at Spike and listened. Zanan did say he has a lot of knowledge. I looked at him and took a closer look. Everything about him has been explained except for his skin. I reached my hand out and touched his skin. It's cold and it almost feels like stone. No, not stone, marble. Where have I read about marble skin before? I asked myself and tried to remember. I looked at him again and then it all fell into place. In school when we were learning about the war between vampires and wolves, the vampires had a weapon, one that could see the future, but what were they called? I racked my brain and tried thinking of the name. I snapped my head up and said, "You lied about what you are." I said to Spike and he let his head fall. "I know, and I will keep lying because you and me we weren't that different. We shared the same fate and I am the only one of my kind left." Spike said and he looked so sad. I didn't know it was possible, but even his ears dropped. "Why would you lie about who you are?" I asked him and lifted his face so he can look at me. "The same reason your father hid who you are," Spike said, and I couldn't argue with him anymore. I lost every question I had for him except one. "How old are you, Spike?" He looked at me and said, "You wouldn't believe me, but I am 1,000 years old. My family was one of the first families that gave their services to the royals." I gasped and covered my mouth. My mind went blank and I couldn't think of anything else. "Please, you cannot tell anyone. Not even Zanan, he will know when the time is right," Spike said and started walking away. I couldn't believe that a gargoyle still lives, and that I actually met him. Who knew that things will turn out like this? "Here you are, I was looking for you everywhere," Zanan said as he came up from behind me. I looked over at him feeling as though I missed something. "What is going on?" I asked him and just received a weird smile from him. "Well, since you weren't there, Delia named the babies and Jeff got upset because why can the babies not have his middle name, so Delia asked him what his middle name is. He literally chased everyone out just to tell her his middle name, and the way she laughed made all of us laugh that was standing in the hallway. When Jeff came out he didn't look angry but he wasn't friendly either. He just looked at us and went back into the room. We still don't know what his middle name is, but I doubt Delia will use it or repeat it," Zanan said, and I could feel his laughter trough the mate bond and I could imagine Delia getting a laughter attack. "I love you so much," I said to Zanan, and he looked at me as if he is trying to stare into my soul. He sat down next to me and said, "Well, in a few days my love will have to be divided into 3, but for the time being you have all my love." Zanan sat with me until the sun went down and you could hear the crickets and frogs and all the other small things. My life is perfect, for now. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.